Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. My name is Tilly. Today I just wanted to keep you guys up to date with what's happening in the ADHD journey, the medication and everything like that. So at the moment I'm going through the titration process in the UK with a psychiatrist here. So that essentially means that they're trying to find the correct dosage for me. They're trying to find out what medication works best and just looking at different ways to implement it to make sure that it's helping me manage my symptoms as best as it can. During my last appointment with a psychiatrist, which was a couple of weeks ago, she mentioned that a lot of the ADHD medication is actually like running out of stock here. So I might have to try a different brand or something like that. So I was kind of thinking about what would happen if it ran out or I wasn't able to access it for whatever reason. Like, what would happen if I didn't take my medication? So here are just some thoughts that I've written down, because at the moment I'm taking my medicine at about 10 or 11 a.m. in the morning, and then it lasts for about 8 hours. Before I have the medicine, I do nothing. I work for myself, for people that don't know, and I do a little bit of consulting work, so I'm on my own schedule, but that time is like, I don't want to say wasted, but it really feels like I'm just sitting there waiting for life to kick in. I think that it's just a case of like ADHD paralysis, which is the term I've seen thrown around online. I don't know if that's the clinical term, probably not, but it's just an issue with executive dysfunction. It's like you want to do something, but then you think of all the other things that need to be done in order to make that one thing happen. For example, folding laundry. It might be like a really simple task, just fold the laundry, but you have to sort the laundry and then you have to fold it and then you have to put it in the laundry basket and then you have to put it away. So it's like multiple tasks. So instead of doing any one of those, you kind of just sit there and you're like, I need to fold the laundry, but then it doesn't happen. But then as soon as I have the medicine, then it does happen. I don't know how to phrase this. I really do notice the difference, and I feel a deep sense of shame around the fact that I feel like I don't do anything productive or even taking care of my brain. Like, I do nothing before I have medicine. And it's kind of like, well, why can I not do things? Why can I not just do what everybody else is doing? And when I say I'm gonna do something, I do it. I feel like I'm not enough because of that. And I think some of you might hear this and think, well, you lived like 23 years of your life without medicine and you obviously got things done, because I have a master's degree in exercise science. And yeah, absolutely. But I think the main way of motivating myself previously was, one, I can do things if I'm really, really excited about them. So if I find a new creative project or if I get a new client, I'm super motivated to do the work for them. But if things are repetitive or if they're kind of mundane, like washing the dishes, then I'm not excited to do that. And so in order to get it done, I either have to have pressure put on me from the outside. So think of my master's degree. I've had to have people telling me that there are deadlines and that I'm gonna fail if I don't study and things like that. I have external pressure and I have a load of anxiety helping me to get things done. And since using medication, I have realized that a large amount of my anxiety is based on not doing things. So I feel anxious about the fact that I'm like wasting my life or not being productive. So when I'm on the medication, a lot of that gets removed because I'm actually able to do things. I'm able to be productive and get the things that I need to done. So if I didn't have access to that, I think a lot of that would come back. And I know that labels aren't necessarily everything, but I think that having the label of ADHD, even though I'm still incredibly hard on myself, I think that if I wasn't able to get access to the medication, then having that label would hopefully allow me to be a little more kind to myself and set more realistic expectations. Like, I sent this meme to my friend the other day who also has ADHD, and I think that it explains it really well. It's me. I have ADHD, so starting and finishing tasks is hard. Also me. If I don't do 30 things today, I'm a failure. And that is absolutely my life. But I suppose I didn't want this to be all doom and gloom, because I'm just kind of reflecting on how I think my life would be different if I didn't have access to the medication anymore. I do think that having the label would allow me to kind of explain myself to other people a little bit more if I wanted to disclose that I have ADHD to them. And I think if I genuinely put it into practice, it would allow me to kind of mitigate the pressure that I put on myself and hopefully get rid of some of that shame associated with not doing things. Another technique that I saw online that I've been trying to implement on medication, but I would definitely implement if I wasn't on medication anymore. Turning that voice in the head that says you should do something or should not. Turning that voice into a need or a want. And if it doesn't work with need or want, then you shouldn't do it. It starts by questioning what is that voice that's telling you that you should do something. Where is that voice coming from? So if you use it in context of going to the gym, for example, if you're saying to yourself in your head, I should go to the gym, or if that phrase works with need or want, then you could still do it. So I need to go to the gym today. No, that's not technically true. I don't need to. I want to go to the gym today. Yeah, I actually do. I would like to move my body and I'd like to lift some weights. Well, then that works. And then you can do that thing.
Just as an editor's note here, it's essentially a method of trying to figure out whether you're actually doing something because you need or you want to, or whether you're doing it because of society's expectations of you. So do I need to start my workday at 8 a.m. instead of 11 a.m.? Fortunately, I don't. So why am I setting unrealistic standards and putting pressure on myself and beating myself up over the fact that my brain isn't really wired to do that? There's no need for me to be beating myself up over that.
Does that make sense, or am I just rambling? I think I'm rambling a little bit. I think that's a way of kind of managing the expectations that you set for yourself, and it's a good way of kind of questioning who set those expectations. Did you set them, or did society set them? I think we're getting a little off topic here. So I'll just finish up with a couple of more thoughts that I have in regards to how being on medication has affected me and how I notice a difference when I'm not on it. One of the big things that I notice is that as soon as my medication wears off for the day, I've mentioned this in a couple of other videos, but I do crash really, really hard. The other thing that happens is that it's kind of like my brain is very quiet throughout the day. I'm able to pick and choose different thoughts that I want to talk about or access, but as soon as that wears off, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a flood, and then each of those things start to come back in. So if you look around the room right now, for example, it's very like plain. We've got plain sheets or like little bees on the sheets, but it's like a really simple room, right? And right now, because I'm on my medicine, I'm able to just sit and be in the room. But at night when I'm lying in bed, I'm like, oh, there's this there, that's there, that's there. I can't block out the extraneous details and things that don't matter at that particular time. And I'm not sure how I would manage that without feeling really overwhelmed like I did for the rest of my life. I don't know how I would manage that being off of medication. So if anyone has any tips or techniques, please let me know. I do think my life would be different now that I have the ADHD diagnosis if I didn't have access to the medication socially. Being on the medication allows me to feel like I'm not going to interrupt or feel like my brain isn't going to explode if I have a thought and I don't get to say it to people immediately when I have that thought. But I think that particularly letting my friends in on things like that, and so they don't get offended if I'm randomly interrupting them. Like, of course, I'm still going to try. I think I would still try and like mask that or hide that, but I think letting people in. And actually, on that note, right before I started medication, I know that some people that were close to me were worried that it would dull my personality and things like that. In my experience, I honestly think as though the medication allows me to be more fun or to be more myself, because I'm not being consistently overwhelmed with the floods of thoughts that I described. I don't know, I think it allows me to be more comfortable in my skin. I don't know how else to describe that, but I think it does. I don't think it changes my personality. I think if anything, it just like accentuates it. I also think that it makes me more caring. Previously, if I have a thought and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fill up my water bottle. Oh, I should probably fill up Callum's water bottle too. Instead of being motivated by like anxiety of, oh, Callum will leave me if I don't do nice things for him, or if I don't do this and take the water bottle to the kitchen and fill his up, I'm able to be kind of more at peace. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fill up my water bottle. I'll take Callum's and fill that up too. It doesn't feel like a huge weight or another excess task because I'm able to do it. I don't know how I'd manage that if I wasn't on medication either.
Watching that back while I'm editing it is actually kind of upsetting, and I'm sure to some people that sounds really dramatic, but that's what it feels like to me to have anxiety. It goes from like 0 to 100 really quickly. And I think until I started ADHD medication, I didn't realize how much of nearly everything that I did was motivated by anxiety. And I think by having something that allows me to do things in a way that doesn't kind of trigger that fight or flight response for literally everything has made a huge difference. And I think if I wasn't able to have access to the medication, at least it's given me the gift at the moment that I'm aware of it now. And I certainly wasn't aware of it beforehand. So although it would certainly be more challenging, and I really don't intend to be without medication if I can help it for the next however long, even the last couple of months of having access to it has really opened up my eyes to a lot of patterns and things in my head that I can work on and that I can continue to work on without medication.
These are just some things that I've been thinking about in terms of like, what would I do? The answer is I don't really know, but I think that including the people that I'm close to in on how I'm feeling and what is difficult for me would be helpful. Letting people know when I'm struggling or when my brain is tired and I need a break from communicating. I think trying to understand where these expectations come from, and so kind of managing those expectations, I think would be the biggest help if I didn't have access to medication. But then I think that comes from talking it out and realizing that I sound like a crazy person when I say them out loud, even though they feel like very real threats or very real stresses. They're not, and it's probably anxiety. I think those are some things that I would do differently if I wasn't on medication. And there are things that I could do while I'm on medication too, and I'd probably have a bit more space for them while I'm on the medication. Those are my thoughts. Let me know how you guys feel about this discussion, or if you've thought about it, and I'd love to know what you think or what you do to manage your ADHD if you're not on medication. I'd really appreciate that. I hope you have a great day, everybody. I hope you have a great week ahead, and I hope you take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. I don't know if I'm gonna post this video.